Today on DNVR Buffs Lie. Wow, that's really on my mind. The lies being told on this program. We address those. Also, there's a surprise starter through 1 week of camp. We will dive into that and much, much more. Let's go right now. Let's go.
Welcome into DNVR Buffs Primetime, coming to you live from the Toyota Lounge, driven by your Front Range Toyota stores. Toyota is the official vehicle of DNVR. First off, welcome back.
Good to be back.
Second, they just can't stop talking shit about this program.
Yeah, man. It's crazy. It's crazy the amount of these things that come out. And I guess I'll just dive right into my biggest take on this, which is that we're in a sad state of affairs when someone with zero credibility can say whatever the fuck they want.
Yep.
And people will take and run with it because it fits their narrative.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about this before, but that is a problem not just for the Buffs. It's a problem with our society right now. And it's a little bit of a side effect of like the social media era, where anyone anywhere can just throw something out there, and if it hits the right audience, it'll get picked up and run with. But it's wild to me that someone who, like I said, had no credibility in the first place, puts out a false story about Shedeur and how Coach Prime threatened to kick players off the team if they didn't go to Shedeur's concert, which that has been unequivocally defeated. It has been proved that had zero truth to it.
Yes.
It's crazy to me that the person who put that out was proven to be a liar, can then put another thing out, and the same people who ate up the first one will eat up this one. And that's what kind of is just gross and disgusting about the whole thing. You would think that, there would be some sort of repercussions for just spewing bullshit, but you can just go right back to the well and keep doing it. And you do however many thousand clicks and go brag to your bosses about how you're doing a great job just off of making shit up.
I mean, it's an irrelevant writer from an irrelevant outlet, and this is what they do. They've been targeting the program for a few months now. They don't come to Boulder. Again, for everyone out there listening, they don't come to Boulder. They don't ask questions. They obviously don't have sources from inside the program. And I think even their former player sources, they're either straight just lying to them, or there's an obvious agenda out there that they just want to, throw shade on the program.
Who's to say they have sources at all?
This could all be made up.
Yes.
I mean, just talking to people today in the building, like we're getting laughs when we bring up the hit pieces and stuff. Like,
absolutely.
It's crazy.
Well, and then I think the most damning part, and the part that should completely put this to bed, but it won't, is that Cormani himself, who is perceived as the victim in this story, comes out and says, nah, that's cap. Like, what are we doing here? That should just be the end of it. But the same people who post this shit ignore the follow-up. It used to be if you put out a story and it was false, you had to issue a retraction and apologize.
Right.
That part of our world has completely disappeared. I would almost bet every dollar I have that there will be no follow-up story from Athlon saying Cormani McLean denies that he was slapped by Shedeur Sanders. Like, it's just crazy. The players that are within the program have never said anything like this. No one's ever said, like, I have a source within the program that is saying this is happening. It's always a former player who was there, said this, that, and the other. It's tiresome, man. Camden said it, enough is enough, but it's part of the world we live in.
I mean, that's the general vibe from this whole thing. The thing drops on whatever Saturday or Sunday, and immediately I just roll my eyes like, here we go again type of thing, you know what I mean? And then just hearing the players talk about it, and also just like the kind of lack of reaction from the team over the weekend in regards to this. It's so clear that they don't want to pay attention to it. They don't want to give it attention, and they're just sick of it. They're sick of their coach being, kind of talked down upon and being thrown dirt on for no reason, basically. They're sick of their program being tarnished because of these false accusations, and they're just sick of dealing with all this noise.
Yeah, and to be honest, I think we'll get a few more of these.
Oh, for sure.
Before the season starts. But what are they going to say when this team ends up being really good? Because it's already blasphemous to be saying that there is a chaotic culture of violence going on. Meanwhile, no one's getting arrested.
Yep.
No one's having run-ins with the law.
Yep.
The team has the highest GPA it's ever had. So on one hand, you're painting this idea that it's an absolute free-for-all. It's grand theft auto.
Yeah.
Just stealing and killing and prostitutes.
Betting and all this.
Yeah. And it's like, what are we... Like, that's what I think of when I think of grand theft auto.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, nothing but good things are coming from the actual team. And what's going to happen is people aren't paying attention to that. No one that retweets that garbage is looking and saying, oh, wow, they actually have the highest GPA in program history since Coach Prime has been there. No one's looking at that stuff. But what you can't ignore is the team winning. Because the team can't win if it's just utter chaos and there's fights in the locker room every day and this, that, and the other. That team won't win.
Right.
But if they go out there and they start winning football games, all this stuff will kind of have to just dissipate. It's the old winning cures everything.
Yep.
And it's exactly what we talk about with Georgia. Georgia is the one who should be having all of these, stones thrown at them.
Seriously.
There's actual real evidence of things happening, not just he said, she said bullshit.
Like legit lack of institutional control.
100% lack of institutional control. But no one cares because they win.
Yeah.
And I don't blame, Georgia fans or whoever for, that's just the way it's always been in sports. If you win, everyone just kind of turns the other cheek to whatever's going on.
Yeah.
And so when Colorado starts winning, this stuff will still happen, but it won't catch nearly as much heat, and it won't get nearly as much traction because people will be like, yeah, but you can't really say that when the team is really good.
Right. Also, it's just frustrating to see other media folks or journalists, if you want to use that word, on Twitter just sharing, they can't wait to share the link to this story.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's gross. And, we talk a lot about, or we get a lot of heat, really, for people, claim or slamming our journalistic integrity or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of other people who just run with this stuff. And there's one team in specific that has a lot of writers that like to just bash Coach Prime in Colorado when anything pops up, and you bet your ass they ran with this one too.
Of course. And I think there's a difference between being optimistic about a football program and being I don't know, guys, I think they're really good, which is what we're doing.
Yes.
Versus throwing around completely baseless accusations of lack of institutional control and, dangerous things. And what is being alleged in these things are crimes in some of them, assault, illegal gambling rings and stuff like that. That's actually dangerous. And that's where I think journalistic integrity, quote unquote, is a lot more important. If you're going to be throwing around stuff like that, you damn well better do your job.
Yes.
I don't know if this happened. Again, I went to journalism school. I was taught that if you're going to write a story like this, you deserve to give everyone that's in the story the right to comment on it. Was Cormani McLean contacted about this?
Doesn't sound like it.
Was anyone on the current football team contacted about this?
Doesn't sound like it. Or the school. Not even like the school declined comment.
Right. Thing. So I don't know. It's nasty work is what it is. And it's really old at this point. But I don't think it's going to last long once this team gets going.
I agree. This team has so much bulletin board material already. I don't even think they need bulletin board material, but there's so much that's already been said and put out there that they're going to remember, and they're going to definitely use it as motivation. And the national media or whoever these hacks are that write these pieces don't understand what they're actually doing when they write these things about this football team.
And then there's these like lines being drawn from one thing to another that are just completely and utterly...
The article is very messy.
Yes, but like, how come no one is going, Mike Gundy said that he's drank and drove 1,000 times and his star player got arrested for a DUI. Like, let's connect those two things into maybe a culture of chaos.
Yes.
But we're not doing that.
It's insane, man.
And so, yeah, I mean, Coach Prime having... or the Buffs having fights at practice, which, by the way, go to a football practice, you'll find a fight. Is then being drawn to, then there's also, they're forcing players to fight in the locker room. It's just, it's absurd.
It really is. And I've seen this a lot on Twitter, too. Someone just said it in the chat. I mean, at what point does it just become, like, defamation? Like there's got to be a stand, like, a ban of some sorts, like, not letting like certain people into media or stuff. Like, honestly, it's insane.
Yeah, I mean, it's the hard thing is there's a lot of protections out there for this type of stuff, and so you start throwing around the term like sources,
right?
And it kind of I didn't say this, someone else did.
Yep.
And so, yeah, it's some bullshit, but I truly believe once this team takes off, it's going to be a lot harder to paint these pictures.
100%, man. I think we have enough time to hit the Camden clip. Because of all this, the governor spoke after practice today. This is his job to address stuff like this. And he spoke about 2 minutes on it.
Yeah, I think the headline there is like, enough is enough. We're a program that's in the spotlight. And with that, you're going to have a lot of lovers, which are great, but you're also going to have a lot of haters. And, one thing that we recognize on this team is Coach Prime is an incredible man who is in the space of college sports. He's a businessman, he's a family man, and he's also shaking everything up. And with that, you're going to get people who don't like that. And so, I mean, these pieces, it doesn't have any impact on the team. We're still down there, horse blinders on, practicing hard. And I think, at the end of the day, we're working our hardest, and we've got a coach who's changing the scope of college football, and that's all we care about. So.
Does that kind of create a us versus everybody type of feeling on some level?
I think so, but I think it's more so we just have to prove the world that what we're doing out on that field is what we're promising people, and I think that's something that this season is going to show. And, I mean, when those lights come on against North Dakota State and we're out there, I think people are going to see that all the media, the fervor, everything that's been going around us doesn't mean a lot when you're going to look at our record and see a pretty great year. So,
does the body have the locker room characterized that way, though?
I'd say so. Having been a Buff my entire life, the locker room is something that, I mean, it's a family, and our team is a family, and it's the same thing as someone coming in and snooping on your Thanksgiving dinner and telling the world what's you start speculating on what's happening, and that's not true. And I think that with those pieces, it doesn't highlight the good that our players are doing. I mean, that's the biggest thing is you have these things coming out, and it doesn't correlate at all to what's happening, what results our team are putting on the field. I mean, you've got the best recruiting class out here. You've got a team with the second highest team GPA in history. You've got players that are coming here for that smart, tough, fast, discipline with character mentality, and it just doesn't correlate at all to what's being written. So I think with that, it does disappoint me, but at the same time, we're ready to rock and roll, and that doesn't scare any of us.
I think he really nailed it at the end there.
Yeah, he heated up. He heated up for sure. And it goes back to what we were just saying. Like, the things that are being said don't add up with the results whatsoever. You know, you guys know this. I've been around this program my entire life. It feels like at least a couple times a year there is going to be some sort of legal action. A player gets arrested for, you know, it could just be as simple as like being drunk in public.
Speeding, bar fight.
Yeah, speeding probably wouldn't come up, but reckless driving, like whatever.
Yeah.
Like once in a while, that just happens to every program. None of that has happened since Coach Prime's got here. And it's a good thing it hasn't, because it would be blown out of proportion.
Right.
But it just, you know, that type of stuff is so odd to me. It's like, I feel like the opposite of the picture that they're attempting to paint is true, which is like Coach Prime's actually has the team incredibly together, and he has them acting like men and carrying themselves in a certain way. And that doesn't mean that nothing's ever going to happen. You know, I think it's hard when you have 100 young men all being associated with the same thing for no one to ever get in trouble. But to this point, it hasn't happened. And I think a lot of that also has to do with something we were talking about at lunch. Like, Shedeur doesn't party and go out and
Travis
drink.
doesn't, yeah.
Travis doesn't go out and do that stuff. Shiloh doesn't go out and do that stuff. Those are the leaders of the program. When I was in school, you know, I'm not going to name any names. The players were out there. They were getting active on the weekends. And I, you know, obviously, again, young males getting drunk on the weekends. Some things are going to go wrong once in a while.
Right.
But I think the leaders on this team don't really participate in that. You said it the other night. You're like, yo, Saturday night, Shedeur's streaming on Twitch.
Yep.
Travis probably doing the same thing. I think that impacts it a lot. You know, it goes all the way back to first, also where these guys live. A lot of them don't live on campus. Like, they came here to play ball.
Yeah.
They came here to reach the NFL. They're not really getting in the mix. Again, when I was in school, all the players lived on the hill. And, you know, you're out bopping around party to party, you're gonna run into a lot. I'm sure it happens. I'm sure there's still guys who go out. But a lot of these guys are much more business-like and much more NFL focused, which is something Coach Prime said at his very first press conference. I want guys who are focused on going to the NFL. And so because of that, they're carrying themselves in a different way. And I actually think that the culture around football in Boulder is the best it's ever been. Not the way that these people are trying to make it sound like it's the worst it's ever been.
Right, and I think that's something that gets lost, is that people don't actually know these kids, especially the leaders, Travis, Shiloh, Shedeur, and they don't know how dedicated to the game that they are. Like, they truly don't know these kids, and the amount of false narratives, especially surrounding Shedeur, that is out there about, you know, how he treats his teammates and how he spends his free time, you know, how he acts because his dad is the coach, all this stuff. Like, it's so many false narratives that couldn't be further from the truth for what these kids actually stand for, who they are as people, and what they will be as really good and notable, probably some of the best professional football players in the league.
Absolutely. And it's just, it's out of hand at this point, and I hope there can be something done to put it to a stop.
Yep. All right, we'll set it down for now. Shout out to UC Health. Luis in the comments mentioned the new Coach Prime commercial with UC Health.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a new movement going on from UC Health. It's called Ready, Set, Co.
Nice.
You and I have been working in the gym this summer.
Yes.
Been trying to just get healthier, get into better game shape, I'd say.
Exactly.
And UC Health wants you to do the same, as well as Coach Prime. They want Coloradans to be their healthiest selves. As the chief motivation officer of UC Health's Ready, Set, Co challenge, Coach Prime wants to let you know the goal of the challenge is to get Colorado back to its rightful place as the healthiest state in the nation. If you want to join UC Health's Ready, Set, Co challenge, click the link in the show notes on this podcast or go to www.uchealth.org/readysetco.
Also, shout out to Toyota. Best in the game. Shout out to Front Range Toyota stores. I was actually talking to a buddy this weekend. He said he was, thinking about getting a Toyota, thinking about getting a RAV4 actually, like I have. And I always give you guys my highest recommendation. But legitimately, I said the exact same things to him that I say to you guys. which is I absolutely love my RAV4, best car I've ever driven. And the people at Toyota were amazing when it came to dealing with them. The process of buying a car or leasing a car can honestly be really tedious. But those people over there made it as easy as possible, made it as enjoyable as possible. So if you're looking to get a new car, cannot recommend more going to a Front Range Toyota store, including AutoNation Toyota, Arapahoe and Centennial, Corwin Toyota in Boulder, Groove Toyota in Littleton, Mountain States Toyota in Denver, Stevenson Toyota East in Aurora, and Stevenson Toyota West in Lakewood. Toyota is a proud partner of CU Athletics and the official vehicle of DNVR.
All right. We also had Jordan Seaton on the podium today. All these are up on our YouTube channel if you want to go check them out. But Jordan, we've talked a lot about his change in his body and how he's really attacked that process this offseason. You can look at the pictures from him. I think it's junior year in high school compared to now. I mean, he looks like an NFL player.
Yes.
But he's apparently changing his diet too.
Yep.
Chef Solomon's helping him with that. He spoke about that today in his press conference.
Actually, I'm on a diet right now. I've been eating straight fish for about going on 2 months, like a month and 3 weeks. Chef Solomon upstairs, he makes me a personalized plate for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And I've been very grateful to him because he's been a big part in transitioning my body. And then just going to lift and working. So.
He's a pescatarian.
Yes. Might have to call him Chef Salmon.
Oh my God.
Anyways, the transformation has been really obvious, and it just goes into the way that this staff takes things that seriously. One of the things that I noticed the most, well, going back to my days covering the NFL, best player I ever covered, Von Miller.
Yes.
And most strict player on his diet that I ever covered, Von Miller. Coincidentally, once these guys leave college programs, some of them, they obviously eat probably one meal a day at the team facility, maybe. Right. But some of them are just wilding out at the stuff they're eating. It's pretty special to be able to go to a place like Colorado where they have a nutritionist on staff and a chef who's cooking up perfect meals that match their macros that they're trying to hit and all of that for them all the time. And again, you want to get to that level. Your body is your business.
Yep.
And so these guys have to take that incredibly seriously. And I'm sure there's a lot more than Jordan, but it has been incredibly obvious with Jordan that he came in and was like, okay, what do I got to do? You can only eat fish now. Yep. We learned today. Okay. Dials in and has made a huge transformation. And even just from the day that he got to campus has completely, transformed his body.
All we've heard about Jordan is this is a future pro. And, it's taken some time on the field. I think, Neely's talked about that. But in terms of how he attacks the process, how he attacks, the work of playing football and like the offseason, weight room and all that, it's like an NFL player. And he's doing it with his body as well, with his diet also. So it's just great news because the kid we had a 5-star last year who just didn't get it. And this guy completely gets it.
Yes.
He understands the road that he's on. He understands the resources he has in Coach Prime and Coach Loldholt to help him get further down that road as far as he can, really, because he's mentioned gold jacket is his goal. So it's just awesome to see that this is really turning into almost like an NFL pipeline university.
Yeah, and I don't think we clipped it, but speaking of fish, Jordan was kind of baited into, saying something along like something about hazing and, the NFL, they haze people all the time. Are you getting hazed? And he had a great answer, which was just like, my hazing is just learning and listening.
Yep.
And I thought that was a great point. And he's, sort of addressed the article by just saying like nothing about fighting or like, obviously there's fights that happens between brothers, but not to the point where you don't like each other.
Right. On that, he said he's seen a lot of passion, and he said he felt like last year's O-line lacked passion. They're going at it. He mentioned the scuffles and the friendly competition, all that. He said his first camp has been good. It's been hard work, and Coach Prime don't play.
Love it.
Coach Dancy was also on the podium. Overall, in his the defensive line, it's another interesting thing he said, and it's kind of been hinted at before this point, but he revealed on the podium, they're basically they're not separating them into ends and tackles this year. They're just all together. Defensive line, you're all together. So Coach Dancy, Coach Sapp, and Coach Lewis all kind of coaching together. On that, though, he said, I think we've got a lot of depth. I think we're 3 deep when it comes to the D-line. I think I could rotate 3 or 4 at a time and still be consistent up front.
Love it. And, I think part of it has to do with the personnel that they have. There's a lot of guys who are kind of tweeners, can play inside, can play outside.
Yeah.
Quincy Wiggins being a perfect example of like a guy who, maybe you actually have him on the outside on first down because you want him there to stop the run.
Yeah.
But on third down, maybe you want him on the interior pass rushing. Deion Hayes is, I think, another guy who you could maybe use as an interior pass rusher on third downs if you're putting together like a NASCAR package. So I think that's why they have these guys working across the board. Also, when you have a weapon like Warren Sapp, you want him to be able to work with as many guys as possible, not just the interior defensive lineman.
Great point. Coach Dancy was asked about BJ Green's impact so far. He called him a dog. He's an alpha dog. He came to us a great player, and he's continued to be a great player.
BJ Green is going to be a very interesting story to follow.
Yeah.
Because everyone inside of the program is saying really, really great things about him.
Yep.
And if he ends up being that good, it's going to make noise.
He's going to be a difference maker.
Yeah.
I asked Coach Dancy about Tajay McCoy. If you've been watching well off, Tajay's been rotating in with the first team. He's been on the second team, for a while, but we're starting to see him work with the ones a bit. Coach said he's playing on a whole other level. He's the future. Tajay is Tajay. He's a great player. Backs up what Coach Williams said at the end of last year, too.
Yep.
Shane Cokes took the podium. He said, just on being coached by Warren Sapp, he said, it's crazy. You get to see him every day, so it's just regular now. It's so great to soak up wisdom from him. There's no better place to be.
Well, and I asked that question because, remember, he was on the DNVR pregame show with us and Unk, and we asked him about Warren Sapp just being in town one week, and he literally lit up and was just like, oh, my God, it's the craziest thing. Like, I never thought I would be able to talk to someone like Warren Sapp, and now he's kind of like, it's kind of become normal now, which is crazy considering how exciting it was for him a year ago. But these guys are gleaning tips and tricks that they could not get anywhere else.
Yep. Shane Cokes spoke about his decision. Go ahead.
By the way, speaking of NFL players, tips and tricks, gleaning things, former Broncos coach Bill Kolar was at practice today. I just saw that in Ryan Green's picture. Bill Kolar, one of the best outside linebackers coaches ever.
Yep.
Also once wrestled a bear, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Holy shit. Shane Cokes, as we know, had a decision. He could have stayed another year in college or gone to the draft. I don't know what his exact situation was.
Yeah, he could have gone to the draft. He was definitely draft eligible.
Okay. But he spoke about it. He said, I thought about it for a long time, but how the season ended, I knew I could be better. The Big 12 championship, playoff berth is all that's on my mind right now.
And it's going to be a very different world for Shane Cokes this year. I think last year there was times where when teams game planned the Buffs, they keyed in on him more than any other player on the front four.
Yeah.
This
JD.
year,
JD.
And JD, yeah, for sure. But this year I think it's going to be very different. I think he's going to be able to get in a more specialized role and be able to just focus on what he's best at and not be the main focus when he goes on the field. I think you're going to see Shane Cokes make a lot more plays this year.
To takeaways from practice, and the big one, it sounds like Charlie Offerdahl is really taking advantage of the opportunity given to him in this running back competition.
Yeah, man, this has gone 0 to 60 real quick.
Yep.
Because it started as, going all the way back to spring practice of last year. Coach Prime calling out Charlie saying,
yep,
this is the guy that all of you guys should be looking at if you want to know what it takes to, be an important member of this team. And that was really a speech to all of the players who were holdovers.
Yep.
Then that, he doesn't get on the field at all last year.
Nope.
But he comes back this year. New mindset, or I should say same mindset. That earns him a scholarship. It also earns Coach Prime saying Charlie's the number 2 running back until further notice at the end of spring ball.
Yep.
Then he got hurt, wasn't able to play in the spring game. And now, according to Unk, if the Buffs were to play this Thursday, Charlie Offerdahl would be running back 1.
Not surprised, honestly.
That is a long way to go from guy who stood out on the practice field in spring, gets a nickname for his mustache, works his way to scholarship, works his way up the depth chart to being RB1. And again, things can change for sure between now and then. But even the fact that he's earned those carries at this point in camp just shows you like the ultimate grind of a walk-on and getting all the way up there. It's a really, really cool story. And, you know, whether he ends up getting the first carry against North Dakota State or not, I just love that the Charlie Offerdahl story has come full circle to like, no, he's going to be back out there.
Yep.
And he's going to be contributing for this team.
I mean, Coach said it before camp started at Big 12 Media Day. He's the starter. Charlie seems to finally really be just taking those opportunities. I mean, the guy's laughing, running downfield and well off because he's breaking off a big run. And guys are just like, he's juking around them and just running circles through them. So this feels like Charlie has just really found his confidence in almost all levels of being a team member or being a leader on this team, really. And I think a lot of that has been empowered by Coach Prime, but I think we're seeing Charlie just kind of playing free and just playing how he knows how to play, which is hard, tough, fast, discipline.
Yeah. I mean, and I think there's a lot to be said about, you know, the confidence that Coach Prime can instill in a player.
Yep.
Again, going back to a guy who was probably, you know, hanging on by a thread, whether he's going to even be on the team. Mm-hmm. Coach Prime notices him for his work ethic, but then like the little things, like bringing him into the commercials, mentioning him, giving him, you know, the nickname Often Ball.
Yep.
Like all of that stuff makes a guy feel like he can be himself, makes a guy feel like he's doing the right things, and that doing the right things is actually worth it.
Yep.
You know, I've heard of situations in programs where players feel like they can't get rewarded no matter how hard they work because they're a walk-on or they weren't a 4-star recruit from, you know, an important pipeline. Coach Prime doesn't rock like that.
Yep.
You know, he's not just going to say, well, this guy is a highly rated player at your position from a big-time school. He's the starter now. Move aside. Like, everything is earned. And just so everyone knows, Charlie Offerdahl was actually really good when he got on the field as a freshman.
Yes.
Especially for a freshman walk-on playing Power 5 football.
Yep.
Like, he went out there and actually made plays and broke runs.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what he can do this year when he gets the ball in his hands.
I agree, man. Super hyped for him. We got some more practice takeaways to get into, but we'll take a quick break and shout out our friends over at Bet365. It is time to get to Bet365 now. Get those preseason bets in on the Buffs, over-under win totals, Big 12 title odds. If you live in a state that allows, potentially Heisman odds. I think the Nebraska odds are up there and a few other games as well. And we've got a sick offer for you. If you sign up with the code DNVR365 and deposit $10, you can cash in on the bet and get offer. All you need to do after that is place a bet of $5 or more. And then once that bet clears, whether it hits or misses, you'll get $150 in bonus bets in your account instantly. You must be 21 or older and physically located in Colorado. Please gamble responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER.
Also, shout out to Circle K. Circle K, we are begging you
please
to take over the vacant lot across the street from the DNVR bar. We need the convenience that comes with Circle K and all of the different things that you can slide over there and pick up. And also, you need the convenience and the rewards that come with being a Circle K Inner Circle member. So go to www.circlek.com/inner-circle or scan the QR code on the screen to unlock all sorts of discounts on gas, snacks, everything. Circle K is the best, and you got to get over there to fill up fill up your tank literally or fill up your tank figuratively.
Just help us out, Circle K. We really need you, man.
Begging you.
It's really bad. We have to walk like 4 blocks now. It's terrible. A few more practice takeaways from Unk today. I mean, he used the phrase, Pat Shurmur used the phrase last week, but it sounds like iron is really sharpening iron in terms of the trenches. And we saw on Well-Off, too, and I think it's probably one of the most interesting things we've seen on Well-Off in the last few days. They're like cross-training all the guys. You're seeing Khalil at left tackle. You're seeing Jordan at guard. You're seeing Tyler Brown at right tackle. Like, because we had a question, I can't remember if you were on the show or not, but someone asked who will be Colorado's swing tackle. And, you know, because of college football and how the roster size works, you don't really have a swing tackle just because you have depth. But it looks like they're really training the guys all the way across the line, all different positions.
And I love that because, I mean, I guess for lack of a better explanation, think about playing CFB video game.
Uh-huh.
Let's just say your center gets hurt.
Yeah.
In the game, it's really easy to just take your backup left tackle, who's rated 84, and slide him in at center.
Yep.
And it's like, well, because your backup center is a 77, but your backup left tackle is an 84.
Yes.
Now you've got an 84 at center. It's not that simple in real life. But if you cross-train these guys, you give yourself the opportunity to create the best 5 on the field rather than just panicking and saying, okay, well, you're second on the depth chart at that position. You go in, even though, you know, let's just say Tyler Johnson doesn't end up cracking the starting lineup. And there's an injury somewhere else, and he's actually the best player for that. And you've seen it in practice. He can actually go and play that position, not just, you know, left guard or whatever it may be. It's really valuable to you. So I like this. At a certain point, you probably want to see, you know, everyone kind of just lock down their positions and anchor in. But I think it's very valuable to have players who you've seen it. You're not just throwing them out there at a random position saying, we hope they can do it.
Right.
And on the note of the offensive line, Unk told us that he talked to Coach Lodeholt today and said that today was the best day of the entire camp for his offensive line. So, again, we talked about this at the very beginning of camp. You just want to see progress in the right direction. You have, you know, 30-ish practices to get everything
25.
right. You're down to what, 15 now? Or no?
You're making me do math, man.
It's
17.
18. You got 18 or 17 left after today. If you got this thing going on the right track and you continue progressing from here on out, you're going to be in a good spot come week 1.
Yep. I wrote about it yesterday, but Shedeur's been balling lately, it seems. Unk said that the offense won again today. He said they won on Saturday. It seems like LeJohntay and Will are they're as advertised as transfers. Draylon and Cam are making plays. Travis is Travis. Jimmy seems to have taken his game to another level in the early days of camp. But Shedeur is he's on it, man. Did you see the throw he made in between the turkey hole shot between the safety and corner yesterday?
I've never heard that called the turkey hole shot.
That's
I've
what
always
John
just heard
Gruden
that
called
called the hole shot.
That's what John Gruden called it, turkey hole.
I'm not saying it's wrong.
All right, I'm just saying.
I'm just saying I've never heard it.
That's just what I heard it as. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's one of the tougher throws that you can make, and Shedeur is really good at it.
Yep.
And it's an easy one for him because, especially when you throw it as well as he does, you can pretty much look out there and know that they're going to be in cover 2, Tampa 2,
right,
if you will. And all you do is wait to see if that corner turns his hips.
Yep.
If he doesn't turn his hips, the throw's there for you, and all you have to do is thread it underneath the safety, which, again, I'm saying all you have to do like it's easy. It's one of the tougher throws to make, but when you're as pinpoint as he is and you can recognize it, you can make that throw over and over again.
Yep.
You know, that hole is always there.
Yeah.
It's the corner's job to cover the flat. It's the safety's job to cover over the top. You know, especially if you run something underneath into the flat, that corner's never going to be able to run with that guy. That spot on the field is always open against that defense. But you got to be a really good quarterback to make that throw.
This is straight from Unk, but it sounds like Savion Riley's having a really good camp at safety. He had a couple picks over the last 2 days, including one against the first-team offense on Shedeur. But it sounds like he's really balling, and we've got another safety in the fold.
Huge news. They've kind of they took a few flyers on guys back there.
Yep.
Like we say a lot of times at these positions, you just need one to pop. And we also talked about before fall camp, like someone that you're not expecting is going to pop up and become a player for you. And I think Savion Riley might be that guy.
Yeah. So last year as a sophomore for Vandy, he had 48 total tackles. That's really his only stat. So he's been active in coverage, though. So it's great news.
Yep.
We got about 5 minutes. The coaches poll, the first edition of the year came out. We're that much closer, man. Coaches poll.
We are. And the coaches poll is irrelevant, but
we're in. Almost. Colorado has received 2 votes in the others receiving votes category.
The only reason at all that I'm bringing this up, because I truly find the coaches poll to be irrelevant, is that someone somewhere out there sees what's coming with this Colorado team.
Yep.
I don't know who it is.
Hey, Coach Prime is Coach Prime. He's got friends in high places, and I'm sure there's some other ball coaches out there in the country who recognize what is going on here.
And, you know, these people will never admit it, but people forget 1 year ago, there was an idea out there like this team was going to win 1 or 0 games.
Yes.
People are truly pushing that narrative. And then Urban Meyer showed up at practice and was like, I don't think this team is as bad as everyone thinks they are. Like, that's actually a legit football team out there. And Shedeur is really, really good. And Travis is one of the craziest players I've ever seen. And that's when people started to listen. So I'm just saying, like, sometimes people know ball can see what's happening right in front of them.
A few things happened while you were gone. We got a commitment from 2025 3-star tight end Zayne DeSouza, local kid, Loveland, Colorado. Massive
monster,
6'6", 260, I think is what he's listed at.
And he looks even bigger than that.
Yeah.
If not every bit of it.
But he said that on his he was on an unofficial visit last week, came in, spoke to Coach Prime. First question he asked him, are you going to be here next year? Coach Prime flips it on him, are you going to transfer? And then he just commits.
Yep.
You love to see it.
It's great to see. It's great to see. And, you know, obviously there's people out there who want to paint the picture that Coach Prime's ignoring Colorado and this, that, and the other. It's like, no, if they find the right guys in Colorado, they're going to go after them.
Yep.
This is a perfect example of one of those guys. Just for what it's worth, someone said cover 2 is not it. That's a middle school coverage. You've got Warren Sapp on this staff who has himself a Super Bowl ring because of cover
that
2.
Coverage, yes. Oh, man, that's funny. How big is too big for a tight end? You know, we talked about this a bit with Dre on Friday. Like, you know, you have the Nate Solder thing. Joe Alt just went 5th overall in the NFL draft to the Chargers. He showed up at Notre Dame as a tight end, and he became their left tackle. Zayne's already 6'6", 260. Just your thoughts on that.
It's always an option. I believe Nate Solder or David Bakhtiari also came into Colorado as a tight end. It's one of those things where it's like it depends on your kind of north-south athleticism.
Yeah.
If you're able to get up the seam, like I'll take a massive tight end all day long.
For sure. He ran like a 4.4, 4.5 at the camp, by the way.
Yeah, so that's probably not too big. But at the same time, if you're him and you keep growing, there's a lot more money to be made on the bookends of an offensive line than there is at tight end.
Absolutely. Nikki came on the show on Thursday, and she had some great intel on Evan Haynes. Turns out Evan Haynes, his father, played with Coach Prime in Atlanta from 88 to 93. And Michael Haynes was actually really good. In 1991, he played all 16 games, 50 receptions, 1,122 yards. That's 22.4 yards per reception with 11 touchdowns. He damn nearly broke 1,000 yards a few more times, had another 10-touchdown season, but the links go back with him. He commits tomorrow.
Who's this?
Evan Haynes' dad.
Right. Yep. We'll be watching.
Julian had the official offer thing that he posted, but it sounds like we're starting to wind down with that.
Yeah.
We'll get a Julian decision soon, I think.
Said it before, I'll say it again. I feel very good about where things are headed with Julian Lewis.
Love it.
I feel better now than the last time we talked about it.
All right. There you go, chat. Get your questions in now. We will get to them here very, very shortly. Also, subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. and hit a thumbs up button on this here stream. Let's chill. Shout out Coors Light.
Shout out to them.
Come hang out with us at the DNVR bar. It's about to be popping down here once football season gets going.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to do something cool for week 0. So if you're in the area, come hang out. We got Coors Light banquets in the stubby bottles. We got the Coors Light in the silver bullets and on draft. But make the most out of times you choose to chill with Coors Light. It was a Coors Light weekend for me, just chilling, hanging out. How was your bachelor weekend? How many Coors Lights went down?
Not mine, but...
but the bachelor party you went to.
Yes. I think we had 6 cases.
Oh, my God.
Of Coors that went down.
Y'all are insane, man. But you can get it delivered straight to your door with Instacart by going to CoorsLight.com/DNVR. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
Also, running out of time to sign up for our last golf tournament of the year. It is, honestly, we did 3 this year. They're 3 of my, 10 favorite days of the summer. And it's going to be the last one. It's kind of a wrap up on golf season and a kickoff of football season. So make sure you go to thednvr.com/events to check out the calendar and get in on the golf tournament coming up. What is that, next week?
16th.
Yeah, that's next Friday.
A week from Friday.
Yep. Still time to sign up. Find a foursome or jump in. Jump in as a free agent, whatever you want to do. But make sure you get out for that one. If you haven't done it yet, you have to do it. And by the way, no golf ability required. If you've held a golf club and swung it before, you can play in a scramble. It's all a scramble. So it's not that competitive. It's more about just going out there with 3 of your friends, having a good time, drinking some Coors Lights, and bullshitting on the course.
All right. Last thing. Zay's been balling at Cardinals camp.
Let's go.
He's not going to be number 30 for long. I think he's going to make the roster, and he's going to get a legit wide receiver number here very soon.
Yeah, I mean, the hard thing for me is I am not dialed into Cardinals camp, but also the only thing I ever see from Cardinals camp is Xavier Weaver highlights. But also someone's got to be posting them. You know what I mean?
And writers are putting analysis out there that he's actually balling.
Right. And that's what gives me excitement, because I don't feel like I'm seeing I feel like I'm seeing more Xavier Weaver highlights on my timeline than Troy Franklin highlights.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So it's okay, this is happening.
We tried to tell the Broncos, man.
We did.
Oh, well. Zay's going to ball, though.
Connor, you're smarter than that.
All right, to the Toyota chat we go. Nicholas asked, were y'all live at practice today? We were not.
Not yet.
Not yet. Friday is media day, though, and potentially we'll be live from Boulder on Friday.
All right.
Little bucket. We keep seeing Ponder making plays.
The question
is, do we need Juju or do we have somebody in-house? Or guys, we can't keep doing this.
Well, let me just say this. From a purely philosophical standpoint, never, ever, ever let the quality of one player on your roster preclude you from recruiting another player at that position.
Yes.
Said it once, say it a million times. The coach's job is to recruit a player better than the players on the roster. Players on the roster's job is to make those coaches wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Rinse and repeat.
Yep.
So there you go.
I mean, Corey literally said it on our show. That's his job.
Yeah.
Is every offseason to just improve each and every position. It's good to see Ponder making plays at this point. I don't know where he rests on the depth chart. I know Staub has struggled a little bit just from what we've seen and reports of, interceptions from the first team defense and stuff. But Ponder's probably in around the same spot where Staub was last year, because I don't think Ponder played much at all last year at all.
All right. I have seen him make some throws out there, though.
He has. Sure. Yeah, he's taken off a few times, too. Yeah. So, I mean, it's great to see, but I don't think there's anything that can happen at practice that will stop this team from recruiting Julian Lewis.
And it would be bad if...
Yes.
Be bad practice if there was.
Yes. Sims asks, we'll see you take legal action to combat all these vicious lies. I doubt it, honestly.
I don't think. Yeah, it's pretty hard to have legal grounds to stand on, when there's protections kind of built in for these sort of things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think if it was like one person, and you could like target that one person, maybe, but when it's just like some random dude in South Carolina, which is the situation, like, what can you really do?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's hard. You can do it. It's just hard to win. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. RJ asks, what is the backup option if we don't get Juju? What about the Watkins kid at quarterback? Is he still off the board? Watkins kid at quarterback. If they're talking about Winston, he plays wide receiver.
Oh, yeah. Wow, I haven't heard from him in a while.
Yeah.
What was the rest of that question? What's the backup plan?
Yeah.
I don't know. So I won't pretend to.
Yeah.
I would just say that I would guess the transfer portal would be the backup plan.
Yes.
And they would still probably bring in a quarterback, but in terms of, ready-made, ready to go, and there's no guarantees that even Juju would be that.
Right.
I think he's one of the best chances of any freshman quarterback. But I think if you're looking for that, the best chance would probably be to go to the portal. I mean, there's no reason why, Colorado couldn't get a Dylan Gabriel caliber transfer.
Exactly my thoughts, man. I think you look at this receiving core, you look at the recruiting potential under Coach Prime, and if the situation doesn't fold where Julian doesn't come and they need to look in the portal for a quarterback, I think you're in the market for the top available quarterback in the portal.
Yep.
Northside, who is Colton Allen on the roster?
Walk-on quarterback.
Yeah. Colorado kid, too. Is he still with the team? Do you know?
No.
He's still on the roster.
Okay.
SC Buff asked, where'd you get that hat, Jake? Shout out to the people
Great
at 10th and Uni.
Question.
There you go. Put that thing on.
Look at this one. This is actual just art printed in hat form.
RK's got the 1990 National Championship one, but shout out to 10th and Uni. They hooked us up once again with some of their awesome hats.
Yeah, and it's spelled out 10th and Uni.
Yep.
I handed you the little note. I put the note on your computer. Did you
I know,
bring it
and
down?
I put it on my backpack because I just thought you put it on my shit.
No, I put it out there to read it, but they sent us a nice note with some really cool hats and just said thank you guys for covering the Buffs and doing what you do. So we appreciate them. Thank you guys for putting out fire swag like this.
Yeah, appreciate y'all.
I think I might bust this out at club championships this weekend.
All right. Exile, what's up, man? Y'all have any Terrell Timmons Jr. takes? Would love to have him get a lot of first-team reps and spread the playing time out. I mean, he had like the highlight of the day on Saturday, basically. Did you see that?
I mean, couldn't have been more textbook.
Yep.
Arms away from the body, using his body to protect off the DB.
Great routes.
Spinning into it. It was just all perfect. Yeah, set up the DB really well on the route. That was beautiful stuff.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't really hear too much from him during spring and everything, but it sounds like he's really settled in. He's been able to work with Shedeur, and that's worked to his benefit, and he's making a push here now.
A lot of questions.
What else we got?
We need to match the amount of questions with the amount of likes.
There you go. East Coast Kev with the super chat. Dempsey spoke and articulated himself very well. I like Prime picked the team spokesman. Dempsey got my vote. Thanks, Kev.
Yeah. It's nice to have someone who's, kind of willing to go up there and address all of this stuff. And when Camden comes to the podium on a day like today, you know why he's there.
Yep. He did a great job today. Baron, any new Juju news? And with the successful 2024 season, do we schedule an SEC team early in 2025 season?
All of those schedules are made long, long ahead.
25 season is scheduled out.
Which actually makes the fact that they scheduled North Dakota State even crazier.
Yeah.
Like, they scheduled North Dakota State back when North Dakota State actually was beating Power 5 teams every year.
Yes.
Not that they aren't capable, but they haven't done it in a long time.
No real Juju news. That's about it, though. Thank you for the super chat, Baron. Jay got the juice. Asked CT ESPN Uniform League thoughts.
I have many thoughts. first thought is that they've been undefeated on uniform links.
Yes, they have.
At least that I've seen. So would it surprise me if that was correct? No. The other uniform link, Coach Prime went out and said, this ain't it. That one, I think there's going to be a lot of options, but it wouldn't surprise me if that's part of it. And if so, I kind of like it.
Yeah.
I think sometimes the flat iron stuff can be a little overdone, but I think it's subtle enough that it's not like in your face, just like, look, flat iron, you know what I mean? But it's basically like taking the existing black jerseys and spicing them up a little bit, which I like. But
weren't they gray? The ESPN?
I thought that was just like, that looked black to me.
Oh, I thought they were the grays, and I was going to say, I like the grays, so I'm glad the grays get to stick around.
Either way, I won't be surprised if those are real, and I like them. But that also will not be the only uniform template you see.
Yes. Don Peasy, what's up?
Also, uniform prediction.
Uh-huh.
I think there will be a throwback style uni that looks like the ones that like Cordell was wearing in Miracle, Michigan, like the big.
Is this why we have the stripes back?
Big stripes on the arms.
All right.
Not like the ones on the practice jerseys, like bigger, thicker stripes.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Don Peasy says, another great show. Hearing y'all talk. Researching Michael Haynes is making me feel old as F. I was a kid hearing about how him and Prime were the two fastest guys on Atlanta. If the kid is 50% like his pops, he's a player. Tomorrow, we find out.
Hell yeah.
Thank you, Don Peasy. Hello, Laura. She asks, if you're in Boulder this week, stop at the sink and grab a Juju Precision Pass burger. Post on social with hashtag we want Juju. Show him the love.
We might just have to go get one this week.
Sounds great to me.
Yep.
Let's make it happen.
All right.
Baron asks, other than black, white, gold, and Nardo gray, what other jersey color would you want? Is there another jersey color you'd want?
No. Someone just said powder blue. Absolutely not.
No.
What other colors even are there?
That's all the Colorado colors I know of. Like
black, white, silver, gold.
Yeah.
That's it.
JZCZ says, I want a pink jersey with neon bright green helmets.
Brat green. Jeez.
All right. That's the show for today. We'll be back tomorrow. We won't be back in Boulder till Friday, though. So
unless we go up to get a Precision Pass burger.
That is true. Which I'm sure they'll know if we do that.
Yeah, for sure.
There will be 21 Questions with Mate coming out this week. We got Media Day on Friday. That it? Anything else?
Let's go.
See you guys tomorrow.
Big week ahead.
Big week. Let's go Buffs.
Let's go Buffs.
We all silly like the mayor.